Hey, it's roster cut down day, and the Lions roster is at 50?
You are Locked On Lions, your daily Detroit Lions podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's good, everybody? Welcome in on a cut down Tuesday, August 26th and a Wednesday, August 27th. It's Locked On Lions on the Locked On Podcast Network. Matt Derry with you, been with you since 2016. Thanks for being with us, making us your first listen, checking us out wherever you get your podcasts. Big day around the NFL and a tough day for thousands of players that have been released or waived. It is cut down day where every team's roster has to be down to 53 players maximum. There will be 16 guys added for each team to the practice squad to get it up to 69 by tomorrow or the next day. And the Lions roster right now is at 50 players as I record right now at about 5:30 on this Tuesday evening. We thank you for being with us, following us wherever you get your podcasts, of course, on social media, Locked On Lions on Instagram, Locked On Lions on TikTok as well. If you are new to those spots, please check them out. Our broadcast today is brought to you by FanDuel. Football season is around the corner. Visit FanDuel, the FanDuel app today. Start planning your futures bets now. All right, so we got a lot to get to. Ross Tucker from the Ross Tucker Football Podcast and CBS Sports is going to join us tomorrow. The roster, like I said, is at 50 right now. Lions have made a bevy of cuts. We're going to tell you about that coming up. We got some surprises. I want to get into what needs I think the Lions are going to fill with the 3 roster spots. Jeremy Fowler from ESPN reporting today that Zadarius Smith has been contacted by a lot of contenders. And I got some audio to play for you of a national host, a national fill-in host, spewing out some absolute atrocities. We will get to that coming up today right here on Locked On Lions. We told you yesterday, and by the way, later on this week, I'm going to give you the names of 3. Usually we've done it every year in the offseason. I've given you the list of 5 players that I think are going to be first-time Pro Bowlers or could be first-time Pro Bowlers for the Lions this season. We've waited until now to do it. I'm slicing the list down to 3, and we will do those the remainder of the week. So stay tuned for that. Like I said before, Ross Tucker, CBS NFL analyst, coming up tomorrow. We love Ross. All right, Lions roster, like I said, is down to 50. Today, the team made it official by sending out a whole list of cuts and announcements and everything else, which included, let's start with this one. 6th-round pick Ahmed Hassanine has been released with an injury settlement. Now, what does that mean? It means he is now free on waivers for the next 24 hours to sign with anybody. All right? He's injured. So the Lions are going to pay him game checks to remain off the team. But once he gets healthy, if he clears waivers, the Lions can bring him back. So that's what released with an injury settlement means. So if there's a team right now that thinks Hassanine is really, really good and want to grab him today or for the next 24 hours, they can do that through waiver claims. If not, he stays a free agent, likely rehabs here, and likely the Lions will bring him back. Also, the Lions have made a few surprise moves, I guess, if you want to call it that. I thought safety Lauren Strickland was going to make the team. He has not. Lauren Strickland is gone. Maurice Norris has been waived. This is a player that, of course, in the second to last preseason game in Atlanta, suffered a massive concussion. Thank goodness that was all it was, but a head injury and was hospitalized and ambulance on the field. Mo Norris is now no longer a member of the Detroit Lions. Again, a lot of these guys can be brought back on the practice squad. We'll see. Dayron Gilbert, linebacker, gone. Ezekiel Turner, placed on injured reserve, so he is likely out for the year. Cornerbacks, DJ Miller, Alan George, Tyson Russell, let go. Edge rusher, Isaac Ukwu, no longer on the team. He has been waived. Keith Cooper, undrafted rookie free agent that we all thought maybe was going to make this team. The defensive lineman who kind of can play both inside and outside, he has been released, or at least waived. Offensive lineman gone, Mason Miller, Michael Neese, Netane Moody, and Tristan Colon, who was hurt during the preseason. along with Gunnar Britton and Zach Johnson. They are all gone. Tight end Steven Stilianos, tight end Zach Horton, the kid out of Indiana, gone. Michigan legend Ronnie Bell, gone. Malik Taylor, wide receiver, also gone, as the Lions made that announcement. These all go with the guys that were let go yesterday, which include, bit of a surprise, Nate Lynn, Broderick Martin, Zach Johnson, Miles Adams, Deion Jackson, Jacoby Keeney James, Gunnar Oaks, Eric Hallett, also a little bit of a surprise, Jacob Sailors, Luke Barku, Nick Whiteside, Jackson Meek, so I think we'll be back in the practice squad, Mitchell Agude, Ian Kennelly, Tom Kennedy, Hendon Hooker, Anthony Pittman, and the big one, of course, Big Skip, Dan Skipper. Whew, let me take a deep breath. So with all of those moves that have been made, players put on injured reserve, players put on PUP and remain on the PUP list, the guys that have been cut, you've got to have the roster at 53 by 4 o'clock today. It's now 5:30. The Lions have 3 open roster spots. Their roster sits at 50. Here's the Lions roster as of right now, as I'm recording. Jared Goff and Kyle Allen are your quarterbacks. Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery, Sione Vaki, Craig Reynolds are your running backs. Your receivers, St. Brown, J-Mo, Tim Patrick, Kali Freeman, Isaac Tesla, and Dominic Lovett, the 7th round pick from Georgia. Your tight ends, Laporta, Brocktober, and the Flying Zylstra brother, Shane Zylstra. You have offensive linemen, Graham Glasgow, Christian Mahogany, Tate Ratledge, Panay Sewell, Taylor Decker. The backups, Gio Manu, Jamarco Jones, Coyote Awashika, Kingsley, I'm going to do this right, Egwakin. Miles Frazier is on PUP. Egwakin is the backup center. Awashika, backup interior offensive lineman, Manu and Jones. Defensive ends, there's only 3 right now that are healthy. Hutch, Davenport, and Al-Qadim Muhammad. Josh Paschal has been placed on the reserve non-football injury list. They can bring him off of that, and he could return in the next few weeks. I mentioned before, Hassanine, at least for now, gone. Nate Lynn, Ukwu Agude, all gone. I believe one of those spots is going to be taken up by Zadarius Smith. We will see. Defensive tackles right now, you've got DJ Reader, Tyleek Williams, Roy Lopez, Patrick O'Connor, Mekhi Wingo, and the pride of Cranbrook, Chris Smith, makes the team. Aleem McNeil right now on the PUP list. Also on PUP, linebacker, Malcolm Rodriguez. The linebackers that made the team, Alex Anzalone, Derek Barnes, Jack Campbell, Grant Stewart, Trevor Nowaski, and Zach Cunningham. Your defensive backs, Terran Arnold, DJ Reed, Amik Robertson, Brian Branch, and Kirby Joseph. The backup corners, Rock Yassin, Khalil Dorsey, and the backup safety, Avante Maddox. Then you've got your 3 kickers, or your 3 specialists, Jack Fox, Jake Bates, and the long snapper is Hogan Hatton. All right. That's your roster right here, right now, as I'm recording at 5:35. It's at 50 players. Guys can be brought back. Dan Skipper can be brought back. I think he's going to be. I think some of this is roster gymnastics, similar to what happened last year with Craig Reynolds. Come on, Craig. I think Dan Skipper will be back unless Ben Johnson pilfers him away to Chicago. Anything is possible. I think Zadarius Smith is going to be signed. I really do. I mean, the Lions have 3 edge rushers right now. 3. You got to figure Zadarius Smith is going to be in that mix. All right. And I also think, knowing Brad Holmes the way I do, I think he's going to add one more defensive lineman or a corner. You know, I saw today a guy like Juju Brents from the Colts, who is a decent player, was let go. That there are going to be players that Brad Holmes likes on other teams that might be added here. But I think for right now, I'm thinking Skipper, I'm thinking Zadarius Smith, and I'm thinking, you know, one other need, possibly another cornerback. Or they bring back a guy like Lauren Strickland as the safety, or they've got their eyes on somebody else. All right. But as of right now. And I'll tell you one thing, that nose tackle that got let go by the Chiefs this morning, keep an eye on him. Of course, his name escapes me because I'm brain dead today, but there's other. Let me go over some of the surprising moves and some of the needs that I think remain. We will do that coming up next, right here on a Tuesday cut down day edition of Locked On Lions. And we told you earlier that Locked On Lions is brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. You know what today is, folks? August 26th. It's officially FanDuel Futures Day, a brand new holiday for football fans who live for bold predictions and preseason hunches. For just 24 hours, FanDuel is giving you deals on NFL season predictions. So whether you're calling your MVP shot, eyeing a long shot division winner, or ready to crown your Super Bowl champ before week one even kicks off, this is your moment. You got some futures bets that you like, whether it's you're going to bet that 3 teams in the NFC North get into the postseason, the Lions, the Vikings, and the Packers, let's say. All right. I looked at that on FanDuel. It's like plus 4,800. You put down $100, you could win 4,800 if all 3 make the postseason. All right. Take a flyer on the MVP race. Crown your division champ right here, right now on FanDuel. Visit the FanDuel app today and start planning your futures bets now, because Futures Day is one day and one day only. That's today. FanDuel, play your game. I'm back on Locked On Lions right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Matt Dario with you. Man, I got to fix our screen here. On a Tuesday cut down day, Lions roster sitting at 50 right now. I blanked out on the kid's name from the Chiefs. Marlon Tuipulotu is a nose tackle and defensive tackle that has played pretty well for Philadelphia and Kansas City over the last couple of years. That could be a guy that the Lions could add. I think he's a decent football player. David Ojabo was let go by the Ravens. 2nd round pick, formerly of Michigan, of course, tore his ACL years ago and never has lived up to the hype. I don't know if that's somebody the Lions would be interested in, but those are just a couple of names of players that I saw that I was surprised were let go. I think Tuipulotu and Ojabo are decent guys. I still believe that Dan Skipper's coming back. It's almost like, the old bit of every single year, the Lions would cut or bring back every single year. You know what I'm talking about. every year, like clockwork. And gosh, I'm brain dead today. The Lions would bring Andre Fluellen back. Can't even believe I'm forgetting names today. Big Flu is on the Lions 50 times. I think Dan Skipper somehow comes back. I would be surprised if the Lions just kept Giovanni Manu and Jamarco Jones, and that's it as far as backups for Jared Goff out at the tackle position. But we'll see. Other surprising cuts, like we talked about earlier, I thought Lawrence Strickland made the team. The safety was a very hard hitter and a good player, especially in the final preseason game in the loss to the Texans. I'm a little bit surprised that he was let go. I thought Nate Lynn, we talked about it yesterday, the best PFF grades of any players that the Lions had on defense. Nate Lynn was at the very top, close to a 90 grade during the preseason. Now, I know these games are fake. All right. And I get that, but I would have thought he would have made the team based off of his performance. I really thought Nate Lynn did a nice job and probably deserved a roster spot. Hopefully no one picks him up, because the Lions, as we've been talking about for a year, need edge rushers. Jackson Meeks, we talked yesterday about. Bit of a surprise that he's let go. Lions are going with 6 wide receivers right now: St. Brown, J-Mo, Tim Patrick, Raymond, Tesla, and Lovett. But I think there is a scenario in place where it's my son trying to call me. I think there's a scenario in place where Jackson Meeks does not get picked up. A lot of wide receivers available right now, and that he would be on the practice squad. Keith Cooper had a really good camp. The UDFA hopefully is back and with the team on the practice squad. For those of you that are a little bit surprised that Brad Holmes would let go 2 third-round picks of his own, guys that he spent pretty high draft capital on, in Hendon Hooker and Broderick Martin. Those two guys weren't good enough. We touched on Hooker yesterday. As far as Martin was concerned, he never flashed. He was banged up. He was hurt. He was out of shape. You watch Broderick Martin during the preseason, and heads never really turned. I know PFF liked his pass rush grade, but all in all, this was not a guy that, I truly believed was going to make the team. And look, there are some GMs out there that hold on to draft picks for a very long time, guys that they drafted in hopes that they turn the corner and, figure it out. But Brad Holmes is like, the winning window is here. It's now. And he wants to put the best roster together that he can. He's got 3 more spots now to fill. And you got to figure one of them is going to be Dan Skipper. I truly, truly believe that Zadarius Smith is going to be a Lion. I know the report was out there earlier today from ESPN that teams are calling him and that he's having conversations. I'm surprised it's kind of gone this long now, but we talked about it. Likely by September 1, with a game on the 7th, Zadarius Smith will make that decision. But he's a pro's pro. And he's still got good football left in him at 32 years old. Did he have a great year last year coming over in the trade from the Browns? No. But he's a starter in this league. And he's waited it out. He's gone on vacation. He's hung out with his girlfriend Cash Doll, the Detroit rapper. And now he's probably, you got to figure, ready to come back. And the Lions, to me, are the fit. He has said publicly he wants to be here. But again, there's a bevy of other teams that want a player of his ilk. And so we'll have to wait and see. Third roster spot is definitely interesting. If I'm looking at the roster right now, and I mentioned before about needs, all right, I think the Lions are very set at safety. I think they've got good corners. If they could add one more, it would not surprise me. I think this team must add another tackle. All right. Manu, I'm not buying that he's ready yet. Jamarco Jones, very injury prone. Played in 2 of the 4 preseason games. All right. Had his moments during camp, but just has had injuries over the last couple of years. Edge rusher, they're adding another one. Josh Pascal's not going to be ready for the opener. I think there's a need there to add another one. We know how much Brad Holmes loves defensive linemen. That's why I brought up the kid from Kansas City, because I think there's a chance he could be a member of the Lions. I think linebacker, they're set. Like I said, corner and safety, they're set. And I don't think they're adding another running back. And I know there's a lot of talk of, well, there's quarterbacks that are being made available. Maybe they like Kyle McCord and he could be a developmental guy. Not adding anybody to the 53-man roster, but could the Lions be in the market for another QB that they feel could be a developmental guy for their practice squad, not named Hendon Hooker? I use McCord as an example. All right. I saw Sam Howell let go yet again. That guy just seems to, Kenny Pickett's been traded 3 times in what? A handful of months. He's going to stay with the Raiders because he's going to be the backup to Geno Smith. But a guy like Sam Howell, let's say the Lions brass like him. Could he be a developmental third guy instead of Hendon Hooker? We'll see. But this roster is very top heavy, and that's a good thing. I'm not sitting here today saying, oh my God, I cannot believe they cut Lawrence Strickland. All right. We were surprised about Skipper. We were surprised about Nate Lynn. But this is a good problem that we're not sitting here today saying we're not hand-wringing over any of these cuts, because we know where the bread is buttered. The buttery bread of the Lions is. It's with their star players. St. Brown and J-Mo are stars. J-Mo could be a star this year. And I know some of you are going, to Matt Derry just say that? He hates J-Mo. No, I don't. Guy's damn good, could be a star. I think Jahmyr Gibbs could get MVP votes this year. David Montgomery's a beast. Your tight end, I think, is a top 100 player in this league. You got really good players on defense. Branch and Kirby are top 5 safeties. Aiden Hutchinson was on pace to win Defensive Player of the Year last year. I think Jack Campbell takes a huge step forward this year. Linebacking core is really deep. So to sit here and go, oh man, I can't believe they cut Anthony Pittman. No, they've got good depth. So I'm not hand-wringing over any of these cuts. I hope guys like Nate Lynn and Skipper and some others can come back, whether it's in the practice squad variety or on the active roster, because I do think they can help the team. I'm not sitting here listing off 10 or 15 guys that I think should have made it. They're doing that in cities like New Orleans and Miami and Cleveland, not here. All right, so Colin Cowherd is on vacation, and his fill-in said something ridiculous. I'm going to play you this audio. We'll do that coming up next, right here on a Tuesday, Cutdown Tuesday, Locked On Lions. And Locked On Lions today brought to you by Yahoo Fantasy. The NFL season is right around the corner, and you can feel the buzz. Fantasy football season is here. Everyone's researching, drafting, and building their championship squads. If you haven't joined the league yet, now's the time. It's all happening on Yahoo Fantasy. This year, I'm playing fantasy football on Yahoo Fantasy, and you should too, whether you're a first-timer or a veteran creating your millionth league. Yahoo Fantasy is loaded with fun ways to compete and brand new features that make the game even better. With season kickoff on September 4th, now is the time to start playing Yahoo Fantasy Football, which offers so many fun ways to compete. Want more ways to play? Try the brand new Yahoo Fantasy Guillotine League mode, where the lowest scoring team gets eliminated weekly until just one team is left standing. The NFL season kicks off next Thursday, September 4th, so don't wait. Start your league now. Draft now at yahoofantasy.com/LockedOnNFL. That's yahoofantasy.com/LockedOnNFL. By the way, can we get a call of the day? I'm looking for a call of the day. If you want to be on the show tomorrow, leave a voicemail at www.speakpipe.com/dairy podcast page. That's speakpipe.com/dairy podcast page. Leave a voicemail. Keep it a minute. Got to hear from our everydayers that are out there that watch and listen to the podcast daily. Let's get a call of the day tomorrow after we have Ross Tucker on the program. All right, who wants to hear some absolute buffoonery? Let's do the business. Jason McIntyre, who's the sidekick and occasional fill-in host on the Colin Cowherd show on Fox Sports 1, thinks the Lions are ready for a big regression. Listen to this audio courtesy of FS1 and Jason McIntyre.
They ain't winning 15 games. I think the Super Bowl window's closed. The Detroit Lions have the toughest road schedule in the NFL. And, oh, by the way, down 2 interior offensive linemen. And then obviously the position coaches are huge. Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn. Those are massive losses. Guys, this is going to be a big regression. The depth chart for that defense is, who the bleep are these guys? Look at that Lions defense and you're like, geez, we're cooked. I have them missing the playoffs. And I think the Super Bowl window's closed.
Ooh, baby. Audio courtesy of FS1, Jason McIntyre, who used to run the website, thebiglead.com, and he's the sidekick for Cowherd and filling in this week on the show as the guest host. Look at the Lions defensive depth chart. Who the bleep are these guys? Oh, I don't know. Aiden Hutchinson? It's one of the best edge rushers in the league, Jay. Come on, son. You have 2 of the top 5 safeties in football. Brian Branch is a stud. What the hell is this guy talking about? Kirby Joseph was all pro last year. DJ Reed is a top, what was he from PFF? 4, 5, 6, top 5 corners, top 6 corner in the league. Amik Robertson's a really good nickel. Really good. Terrion Arnold was a first-round pick. You don't know who he is? I look at this depth chart, and I'm like, who the bleep are these guys? Jack Campbell was a first-round pick. He's a really good Mike linebacker. Alex Anzalone's been in the league 10 years. He's a good football player. Aleem McNeil's excellent. Marcus Davenport's no slouch. He's not a great player. He's above average, but you've heard of him. This guy's talking about the Lions defense like they're going to be 28th or 29th in the league. Last year, they kept themselves above water despite all of the injuries. Do some research, bro. Jeez, they're going to miss the playoffs. And he went on to say he's got the Chiefs not making the playoffs. So Jason McIntyre, who's filling in for Colin, has the Lions and Chiefs not making the playoffs. The Lions nearly made the playoffs 3 years ago, and that roster was shaky. They finished 9-8. Is he right about the road schedule? Yes. All right. It's a killer. We've mentioned it before. First 4 road games at Green Bay, at Baltimore, at Cincy, at Kansas City. Not going to be easy. Then you go to Washington and Philly. Not easy. Guess what? The Lions won every road game last year. Lions won every road game last year. Are they going to do it this year? No. Are they going to win 15 games this year? No. Are they going to make a major regression like McIntyre says? No, they're not. No, they're not. They've got, 7 top 100 players. Jahmyr Gibbs, Laporta, Goff, St. Brown, Sewell, Hutchinson, Joseph, Branch. I can keep going. I think I named 8 players there. Only team on the NFL's top 100 list to have more players is Philly. Second highest is the Lions. We did that on the Locked On Podcast Network list too, where we had 7 guys. And I made an argument Sam Laporta should have been on it, and he would have been 8th. Oh, by the way, the Bears had 1 player on that list. We want to talk about the division being so difficult. The Vikings had 2. Or 3. 3. Jefferson, Darisaw, and Grenard. They had less than half, or more than half less than the Lions. They had 3, Lions had 7. I'm not seeing a big regression. Now, again, Jared Goff could get hurt. All hell could break loose. You never know. It's a good football team. Are they going to win 15 games? No. But big regression? I don't see it. They're really good. All right. Ross Tucker will join us tomorrow. Always love having Ross on the show. Thanks for making us your first listen, everybody, and checking us out wherever you get your podcasts.